Venezuela, the great Patriotic Pole of Venezuela advanced with its electoral strategy. In this sense, the PSUV adjusts the electoral machinery 1/10 as part of the preparations for the presidential elections of July 28. In Palestine, occupation forces use the EU-United States floating dock to attack Nusayra refugee camp. And the European Parliament elections finish, where over 400 million citizens are called to vote. In Venezuela, the Great Patriotic Pole of Venezuela advances with its electoral strategy. In this sense, the PSUV adjusts the electoral machinery 1/10 as part of the preparations for the presidential elections of July 28. The first vice president of the leftist political force, Diosdado Cabello, through a publication in the social network X, summoned the militancy to participate this Sunday in what he called audit, test, review, HUD of the staging and practice of the perfect victory. Cabello explained that this initiative seeks to check, review, and verify these machines and guarantee to permanent contact with each comrade registered in the 1/10 systems. Similarly, he specifies that the simulation will also allow correcting errors where needed in order to increase the strength and give confidence to the Venezuelan people. On Friday, Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro signed important energy agreements with Turkey. The joint endeavors will be led by the working class that achieve the recovery of a state-owned petrochemical company. The move comes amid the far-right privatization attempts. President Maduro signed these cooperation agreements that consolidate the alliance between Caracas and Ankara to strengthen the development of the natural gas value chain. In addition to agreements for the commercialization of minerals with emphasis of the respect for nature. Another of the agreements signed foresees the construction of a plant for the production of ammonia.
We are signing these documents for the construction of a large petrochemical plant for the production of ammonia. We have fully recovered Pequivin. It is a public company, a socialist company in the hands of the working class. And Pequivin, with the power they have, makes a first world strategic alliance to build with state-of-the-art technology a new plant.
On Friday, Ecuador's top appeals court rejected the habeas corpus requesting the immediate release of former Vice President Jorge Glass. The court also reversed the original ruling that qualified as illegal, illegitimate, and arbitrary Glass arrest at the Mexican embassy in Quito, but it rejected the police invasion of the Mexican embassy for not respecting the Ecuadorian protocol for raiding a foreign diplomatic delegation. Meanwhile, former Vice President Jorge Glass remains in La Roca maximum security prison in Guayaquil, pending to serve an 8-year prison sentence for bribery and illicit association in corruption charges. His arrest spurred a standing diplomatic conflict between Ecuador and Mexico. Mexico says it is willing to resume relations in the former vice president handed over, which is not an option for the administration of Daniel Noboa. The Argentinian University Educators Union calls for a new 48 hours national strike because of the lack of response by the Javier Milei's government about the full salaries in education area. The Federation of University Educators explained that the strike will begin this Tuesday and will culminate on Wednesday, June 12, with a march to the National Congress. It is suspected that the teachers' union will demand the senators to vote against the law of BASI, a project that will be debated in the Congress. The teachers denounced that the policies implemented by the Javier Milei's administration have had a negative impact, causing up to 60% loss of purchasing power for educators. Now let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSur English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. In Palestine, the Gaza Media Office denounced the use of a dock built by the United States, used by the Israeli occupation forces to launch their attacks against the Al-Nusayra refugee camp, which left at least 210 civilians killed. The report stating that the Zionist forces directly targeted civilians, including children, in their aggression against the set camp located in the center of the Gaza Strip. The document points out that these attacks were launched from the floating dock built by the United States off the coast of Gaza, which was supposed to serve as a maritime corridor to bring humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. In the wake of the massacre, United States Secretary General Antonio Guterres ordered Israel to stop the genocide in Gaza, while the Palestinian government has called for an urgent session of the Security Council. On Sunday, the European Parliament elections are complete. More than 400 million citizens in the Union are summoned to a process that began on June the 5th. The day will result in the elections of 720 deputies whose names will be known on Monday. The general vote count ends at midnight, moments before Italy closed the last polling station. The European Parliament, a European Union institution marked by serious corruption scandals with a strong presence of the extreme right, could take a dangerous turn towards the direction today when issues that will determine the future of more than 450 million people, as well as migration, security, and the climate change, are being discussed. As we said, the European Parliament is one step away from having its new deputies after several days of elections in the member countries of the European Union. For the latest details, we talked to our correspondent, Juno Sanner. Go ahead, Juno.
Hello, good afternoon from Berlin, the capital of Germany. I'm right here at the election party of the Alliance Sarah Wagenknecht, recently, actually in January 2024, founded party, which today, according to preliminary results, achieved 6% of the votes. But the news is somewhere else. Actually, we have the election ballots closed in the majority of the countries. As you mentioned, Italy is still voting. Among them is Germany. Germany sends 96 members to the European Parliament, so it's an important country. And here we have the first results. According to them, the winner of the election in Germany is the Christian Democratic Union with 30%, the traditional conservative party, followed at second place by the Alternative for Germany, the far right-wing party, that achieved 16%, which is an increase by 5% in comparison to the last elections of 2019. The governing coalition here of the Social Democrats, the Greens, and the Liberals, all of them lost votes, with the Greens being the most hit one. They lost 8% of their votes in comparison to the last election and turned up to 12% of the votes. And the left party, another oppositional party, also lost votes, ending up with 3% of the votes. The general participation here in Germany rose from 61% to 66% in these elections. Similar results we get from Austria, the neighboring country, where the right-wing populist party, the Freedom Party of Austria, has won the elections with 27%, followed by the traditional Conservative Party by 23%, and the Social Democrats also with 23%, the Greens ending up with 10%. More and more results will be coming in, but departing from these two countries, Germany and Austria, we can state that the expected push to the right in the European Parliament has been confirmed until now. And inside Germany, the Christian Democratic Party is the oppositional party. So they are already kind of commenting that the governing coalition has been removed by these elections. They are kind of indicating a demand for renewed general elections inside Germany. And actually, it is a big crisis for Germany's governing coalition.
Thank you, Yunus, for your updates. We will be in touch again for more updates about the European parliamentary elections. And now we have a final short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news, coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with TeleSur. Final short break. Don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. The government of Slovakia assured that it will not be led by Western countries into a military adventure promoting war against Russia. This was stated by Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico, referring to the consent given by the Western countries to Ukraine to allow it to use Western weapons to attack targets on Russian territory. Fico denounced that this is only proof that the great Western democracies do not want peace, but rather an escalation of the tension with Russia and a continuation of the senseless war. The Russian authorities warn that these policies will inevitably have its consequences. South Africa's ruling African National Congress announced that it wants to form a national unity government with major opposition parties after losing its majority in last week's general elections for the first time in the last 30 years since the first post-apartheid election. The plan was announced by President Cyril Ramaphosa on Thursday after days of negotiations with the ANC and between major parties. It is speculated whether the ANC might try to form a grand coalition government with its nearest political rival, the Democratic Alliance, to control parliament, for whether it would try and work with the Umkhonto we Sizwe as former President Jacob Zuma. In Ivory Coast, the development of renewable energy sources is one of the main tasks of the Ministry of Energy. In this sense, the African nation is promoting the issue of solar power plants to contribute to the development of the energy mix. Let's find out about the first solar plant connected to the national grid.
Inaugurated in June 2023, Ivory Coast's first solar power plant is located in the city of Boundiali, in the north of the country, and is the first to be connected to the national grid as part of the West African country's commitment to clean energy without fossil fuels, with the aim of improving electricity supply to more than 430,000 households, according to the Ministry of Energy.
On the other hand, in Boundiali, The northern part of the country, irradiance is very high. Irradiance is the quantity of light that the sky sends, that the forgiving sun sends to the earth. So we have a lot more of this quantity of light in the northern part of the country. So the most appropriate place to build solar photovoltaic power plants is really in the northern part of the country.
Unlike the more humid and cloudy south, the northern climate is warm and dry for much of the year, which makes it very suitable for solar energy.
If we have several solar photovoltaic power stations, what will that do? Relieve the transit of energy that passes through these lines from the south to the north of the country. So that's the importance of having. And it contributes to the energy mix. We're going to use water, gas, but also the sun. We're going to make sure that wherever we invest, we have the maximum amount of electricity.
In this region of some 92,000 inhabitants, some 350 people have been hired since the plant's construction began. Most were hired on a short-term basis to install solar panels or perform maintenance tasks.
I like working here at the plant because I get paid well. I can feed my family and look after people at home. Well, I'd prefer the job to last a bit longer, but if it does, I'll really enjoy it.
Ivory Coast already exports about 10% of its electricity to neighboring countries and aims to generate almost half of its power from renewable sources by 2030 in a continent that, although it has doubled its capacity to produce clean energy, still account for only 2% of global capacity.
And we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSur English, I am Irma Shelton. Thank you for watching.